temporary exhibition shelter Wellbeing, garden and the ground floor of the abbot's granary. The shelter is a space of tranquility and harmony, a place that is safe and communal, welcoming and friendly, a haven that we care for, an asylum that we look after. And the exhibition with the title Shelter Wellbeing, in the words of the curators, is an attempt to create an open and creative space that connects the world of culture with the world of nature, the world of humans with the world of non-human beings, plants and animals, the world of science with the world of art. The eponymous shelter begins already in the museum garden, which is a part of Oliva Park. Next to the building of the abbot's granary, where the Department of Ethnography is located, a place of rest and collaboration between the residents of Gdańsk and local artists and activists has been created. In the center of the garden are simple, dark benches for feasting and cooperating. Then, next to them, there is the first object belonging to the exhibition. It is the observatory, a piece of art and garden furniture all in one, whose authors are Małgorzata Kucewicz and Simone de Jacobis, the exhibition designers. The observatory has the form of a low bench which is shaped like a wide circle with a circumference of approximately 2.5 meters. The wide wooden rim is supported by 7 unhewn stumps which are spread evenly under the tabletop seating area. The central part of the tabletop is empty, so many people can use it, sitting on the tabletop with their feet inside the wooden rim. This form of using the piece of furniture is suitable both for observing nature and looking at the people who are using the observatory together. The tabletop seat of the unit is made of pale wood, which contrasts with both the juicy green of the grass in the summer and the white of the snow in the winter months. The shield of the seat is decorated with 3 stripes, the widest of which is in the center. The border stripes of the decoration and the outer and inner edge of the rim are several times narrower. The decoration is made via incisions. All the stripes form a consistent narrative of the changes occurring in the sky with the passage of the seasons. The narrow outer band lists the numbers of the months in Roman numerals and traces the phases of the moon. The wide central band shows the stellar constellations that are visible in the northern hemisphere at a given astronomical time. The constellations have been drawn in a simplified form, that is, as sets of dimpled circles symbolizing stars. These are connected by straight lines. Next to the constellations are the names of the seasons in expanded form, i.e. using 12 names. Thus, for example, next to January is the inscription Pełnia zimy, midwinter. Next to February, spodzimek, late winter. Next to March, przedwiośnie, forespring. The lower stripe of the decoration, the one closest to the inner edge of the tabletop seat, is made up of simple astronomical symbols, pictograms that have accompanied sky watching since ancient times. They are evenly spaced, each with a diameter of a few centimeters. Among them we can find a circle with a small dot in the center, the symbol of the sun, and others referring to planets and the movement of the celestial spheres. Although the observatory has its astronomical aspect, it is primarily used to observe the closest surroundings. It allows you to pause at a given moment, to feel the sun rays or breath of wind on your skin, or to hear the sounds of the nearby Oliva stream. Park visitors who choose to sit here will see the squat, creamy beige building of the granary under a steep curb red tile roof. The wall of the building adjoining the museum garden has a corner section overgrown with evergreen ivy, the home of many beings. Its lush form, seemingly woven like a carpet, will be deliberately repeated in one of the artworks in the exhibition inside. The first work to be encountered by visitors to the Department of Ethnography is a model of the abbot's granary in the form of a cross-section of the building. It is located on the wall just inside the entrance. The model is made of polished, light-colored wood. It is hung on the wall at the level of the adult's eyesight on the white wooden plank, on the top of which the outlines of clouds floating above the granary are delicately sketched. The model has a slightly raised form in which the 4 levels of the building are outlined: the ground floor, first and second floors, and the vast attic with a dense network of ceiling beams. The structure of the model includes also small windows which are evenly distributed over the entire width of the building, a staircase, which is in the far left part of the model, and a small underground part right next to the stairs. The outline of the building features 15 small, multicolored bird sculptures made in a folk style by sculptor Stanisław Śliwiński. The birds, although slightly varying in size, have a schematic design: a gently rounded back that turns into a pointed, elongated tail, and on the other end a small round head with a sharp beak. Each bird, even the largest sitting on the roof of the model, would fit in the palm of the adult's hand. The sculptures are arranged on all floors and on the roof, always individually. However, sometimes the distances between them are small. This makes the whole bird group seem to be engaged in a conversation, especially since they are all visible in profile and facing different directions. The largest group is made up of white and ashy birds, their coloring softly shifting into different tones. They are lighter on the head and greyish on the tail feathers. There are 4 such sculptures. The other birds are covered in a uniform color: bright red, deep green, or bright blue. The model is in fact the key of the exhibition Shelter Wellbeing. All the bird sculptures mark the places where the pieces added to the museum's permanent exhibition appear in the granary space. Next to the model is a brief history of the historic granary building and a list of the objects that are displayed inside. Wooden figurines of birds and forest animals, simple as those described earlier, or more detailed, among which one can recognize owls, jays, or foxes, can be found in many spots in the exhibition. Sometimes they rest on the edges of the furniture, such as in the museum's tickets office. Sometimes they sit in small nests in the corners of the rooms. They are sculptures by Pomeranian folk artists from the collections of the Department of Ethnography. Some have found shelter in niches designed by Centrala Studio and carved by a folk artist. Large hollows with rounded, flowing shapes, sometimes housing 3-4 sculptures. An element added to the exhibition and appearing throughout all floors are small structures made of hewn sticks and large white cotton fabrics. These are the displays on which the exhibition experts' texts are presented. Each structure is about 1 meter wide, but of varying heights. They resemble perches and are leaning against the walls of the granary. Some of the textiles hang suspended on sticks from the ceiling. The cotton fabrics are printed with ethnographic and expert text in black letters. All texts add new meanings to objects that have been displayed in the Department of Ethnography for decades. Mostly there are commentary on climate change and the social issues it causes. These texts are a story about cultural and natural heritage and the search for ways to respond to climate change. Ways based on the knowledge of past generations, modern science, art, and education. The bottom part of some of the cotton fabrics is dyed an intense blue, slightly diverse in tone, which can resemble tiny slices of a cloudy sky or a sea. This blue is throwback to the logotype of the exhibition Shelter Wellbeing, 2 overlapping circles that are covered with a casual mixture of blue and white, 2 intermingling colors surrounded, tamed, or perhaps actually protected in the forms of the circle. During this tour with audio description components, we will not be able to tell you about all the objects in the exhibition Shelter Wellbeing. On the ground floor, where the permanent exhibition is mainly about fishing, we would like to highlight one object. It is a multimedia installation titled Dissonance, a display of pictures that is a photographic documentation of the actions of students of the Academy of Fine Arts, Gdańsk. The photographs are projected onto old fishing nets, hung from the ceiling in the corner of the exhibition room. This is no coincidence. The students' original action was to display the works on a fabric reminiscent of the fishing net suspended over the surface of Lake Przywidz. The title of the installation was inspired by the term dissonance in music. This is the term used to describe the unpleasant impression caused by a lack of harmony of sound in a musical composition. The images projected on the nets both over the lake and in the museum, are a way of expressing emotions about climate change. They are very colorful, basically abstract. They are distinguished by their intense colors, reds, greens or blues, which are arranged in geometric, partially repetitive shapes. These compositions are the result of multiple edits and distortions of photos depicting landscapes, transformed objects, distorted portrait images. They are an emotional artistic response to the occurring climate changes and are meant to provoke the viewer to think. In addition, projecting the photographs onto the uneven texture of the fishing nets further distorts them. They cease to be in focus and clear.